The studio was dark, save for the soft glow of the mixing board and the even softer light emanating from Wang Yibo's resonance harmonizer. It pulsed with a complex, agitated rhythm, reflecting the maelstrom of emotions swirling within him. He sat hunched over the keyboard, his fingers hovering over the keys, a profound tension in his shoulders. For weeks, he had been composing a song for Xiao Zhan, a secret melody, a testament to a love so deep and multifaceted it defied public declaration. But the harmonized network, in its insatiable hunger for their public image, was a constant, subtle intrusion. He felt its omnipresent hum, the faint, persistent whispers of expectation that tried to define their every move, threatening to corrupt the purity of his creation. Xiao Zhan, blissfully unaware of the secret project, was in the adjacent vocal booth, practicing a public-facing song. His boundless empathy, usually a calm current, was a vibrant flow, radiating a joyful energy that seeped through the soundproofing, a subtle, beautiful pressure on Yibo's heart. Yibo longed to share his secret, but the risk was too great. The industry, the fans, the very nature of their public personas, they would dissect it, claim it, and dilute its raw, intimate truth. This song was for Zhan's ears alone, a sanctuary of hidden love. The first mind-blowing scene erupted, triggered by Yibo's deep frustration. He slammed his hand down on the keyboard, not in anger, but in a burst of desperate creative energy. His echo syndrome, usually so precise, went into overdrive, not just reflecting his emotions, but manifesting them. The studio didn't just vibrate with sound, it shimmered. The very air around him solidified into shimmering, transparent fractals of his suppressed emotions, jagged shards of artistic frustration, swirling clouds of profound longing, delicate filaments of unspoken adoration. These fractals pulsed with iridescent colors, each one a different, complex facet of his hidden love, a mind-blowing, visible manifestation of his inner turmoil. He was literally surrounded by the unspoken words and unheard melodies of his heart. Zhan, in the vocal booth, felt a sudden, profound shift. The joyful flow of his empathy stuttered, replaced by an overwhelming, yet strangely beautiful, wave of complex emotions from Yibo. He saw the shimmering fractals through the glass, a chaotic yet breathtaking display of Yibo's inner world, and a dawning realization spread across his face. This wasn't just Yibo, this was Yibo, completely exposed, his heart laid bare. Yibo, seeing Zhan's gaze through the swirling fractals, felt a wave of despair. His secret was out, not in words, but in a raw, overwhelming display of his innermost self. The fractals began to pulse erratically, threatening to implode, taking his song, his secret, and his sanity with them. The industry's omnipresent hum in the harmonized network intensified, a low, predatory growl sensing a new, vulnerable truth to exploit. But Zhan, always, was one step ahead. His boundless empathy, now fully engaged, recognized the danger. He didn't fight the fractals, he understood them. He reached out, not physically, but with the full force of his empathic will. He didn't try to stop Yibo's emotional outpouring, he embraced it. The second mind-blowing scene was an act of profound, empathetic translation. As Zhan focused his empathy, the chaotic fractals of Yibo's emotions didn't just stabilize, they began to rearrange themselves. Each shimmering shard, each swirling cloud, each delicate filament, was gently, harmoniously, drawn into a new coherent form. They coalesced into a beautiful, ethereal cosmic score, a luminous musical notation that floated in the air above Yibo's keyboard. This wasn't just a score, it was the physical manifestation of Yibo's secret song, translated by Zhan's empathy into a universal language of light and resonance, a melody of pure, hidden love. The air filled with a silent, yet powerfully resonant, symphony that only they could hear, a mind-blowing realization of Yibo's unspoken feelings. Yibo looked up, tears streaming down his face. He saw his song, his secret, now made manifest by Zhan's love, visible for the first time. The chaotic static in his harmonizer was replaced by a perfect, triumphant resonance, a silent echo of his masterpiece. Zhan, seeing Yibo's profound relief, entered the studio, his eyes shining with unshakable love. "It's beautiful, Yibo," Zhan whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "It's our song." They sat at the keyboard, their hands clasped. Yibo, guided by the luminous cosmic score, began to play. And as his fingers touched the keys, Zhan, with his boundless empathy, began to sing. His voice, usually so clear and bright, now carried a new, profound depth, imbued with the raw, unspoken truth of the lyrics he instinctively understood. The song was not just music, it was a conversation, a declaration, a secret whispered from Yibo's heart to Zhan's, now given voice. The climax was the ultimate mind-blowing act of shared vulnerability. As they played and sang, their combined powers, now perfectly integrated, didn't just fill the studio. They projected their love, their secret song, not as a public broadcast, but as a silent, benevolent, heartbeat echo across the harmonized network. It was not a physical sound or light, but a profound, unifying feeling that touched every soul. Billions of people, going about their day, suddenly felt an inexplicable surge of pure, unadulterated love, a quiet, resonant peace that settled into their hearts. It was a secret shared, a silent declaration to the world, that true love, in its purest form, transcends words, transcends fame, and can heal the very soul of humanity, one silent heartbeat at a time. The secret song, hidden in lyrics and revealed by love, had become the universe's most beautiful lullaby. The secret song had settled, a silent, benevolent heartbeat echo that had cleansed the harmonized network and left behind a world irrevocably changed. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan were no longer just artists. They were revered as living anchors, their love a public, undeniable force that had healed and cleansed. The public responded with a devotion that went beyond fame, a profound sense of trust and gratitude that was both a blessing and a new, unforeseen burden. A new, unprecedented challenge began to emerge. It was not a malicious force, but something born of their own profound benevolence. The collective emotional energy of humanity, now unburdened by old wounds and flowing with new, pure love, was growing exponentially. This raw, untamed love and forgiveness was so vast and pure it was starting to bleed into the physical world, causing reality to become fluid and unstable. The lines between the real world and their manifested creations, the starlight rain, the celestial lotus, the cosmic score, the heartbeat echo, were blurring. The world was becoming too much like their mind-blowing creations, threatening to turn into a beautiful but chaotic dreamscape. The first mind-blowing symptom was visible in every city across the globe. The resonant tapestry of cities, once a phenomenon only they could perceive, was now a visible, living aurora in the sky. As a wave of collective joy rippled through a neighborhood, the buildings around them didn't just light up, they began to shimmer with a beautiful golden light, the very structures pulsing with a profound sense of happiness. That same day, a quiet, widespread moment of collective sorrow caused the sky above a park to fill with shimmering, blue-tinged clouds that rained down not water, but a cleansing, soothing mist. Humanity was now a collective, emotional being, and its raw feelings were a part of the visible world. Yibo's harmonizer, once a precision tool, now vibrated with the overwhelming cacophony of billions of emotions, each a unique frequency he could not tune out. Zhan's empathy was a constant flood, an endless torrent of love and sorrow and joy that threatened to drown him. They had given humanity the tools to heal itself, but in doing so, they had unleashed a power so vast it had become a danger. The instability reached a critical point, leading to the second mind-blowing scene. The threads of fate they had rewoven to bring harmony to the world were unraveling under the pressure of this immense, untamed energy. The past, present, and future began to collide in a spectacular, quantum-temporal collapse. People began to experience quantum echoes of their ancestors' emotional breakthroughs. An old man, walking through a park, suddenly saw a ghost of his grandmother, an image of a moment when she had finally found the courage to pursue her dreams, and with that echo, the man felt a profound sense of closure that she had never had. The unsent letter, the temporal portal they had once used to bridge a past wound, began to reappear in different places, on a park bench, in a coffee shop window, a constant, subtle reminder of the collapsing timeline. This was the ultimate, reality-bending chaos. Yibo and Zhan knew what they had to do. They traveled to the opera house, the first place they had ever truly healed together. Standing on the stage, the ghost of their proposal hovering in the air, they looked out at the familiar empty seats. They knew their final task was not to create or heal, but to anchor. With their love as the conduit, they channeled their combined power, not to create a spectacle, but to absorb the wild, untamed emotional energy of the world. With a single quiet, mind-blowing act of profound self-sacrifice, they began to pull in the entire collective consciousness of humanity's love and forgiveness, re-establishing a stable boundary between reality and emotion. As they did, the luminous auroras in the sky began to fade, the shimmering cityscapes returned to normal, and the quantum echoes of the past dissolved like morning dew. Their cosmic power, their ability to create and heal on a grand scale, was not being amplified. It was being absorbed, willingly, into the silent, invisible force that keeps the world from unraveling. The world returned to normal, but it was changed forever. The physical manifestations were gone. The celestial aurora faded. The Garden of Light became a normal, beautiful garden. Yibo and Zhan were no longer silent inspirations or cosmic guardians. They were just two people, their powers now part of the world's subconscious, the silent, invisible force that keeps it from unraveling. Their greatest act was not to create, but to surrender their power, turning their love into the silent, eternal anchor for all of humanity. The world settled back into its comfortable rhythm, but it was changed. The celestial auras and shimmering cityscapes faded, and the quantum echoes of the past dissolved like morning dew. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan lived a quiet, ordinary life. Their powers, it seemed, were gone, absorbed into the world to keep it from unraveling. They were just two men, their hands clasped, their hearts beating as one, their greatest power now the simple, profound reality of their shared life. But a new, unforeseen challenge emerged, not from external forces, but from the very nature of their sacrifice. Their love, now the silent, invisible force anchoring reality, had become so deeply embedded in the cosmos that it was affecting the universe's natural order. The universe, in its impersonal, cosmic way, tried to find balance. It wasn't a malevolent force, but an unfeeling, inexorable law, and it was beginning to pull back the power it had been lent. To reclaim its balance, it was subtly, gently, and terrifyingly beginning to sever the very core of their connection, their memories of each other. The first mind-blowing scene was not a spectacle of light and sound, but a profound, silent erosion. It began with small things. One morning, Zhan reached for the memory of a shared laugh, a moment on a rooftop where Yibo had stumbled over a word. He found only a faint, emotional echo, a ghost of a feeling without a clear image. He tried to recall the specific way Yibo's face had looked in that moment, and the memory was a hazy, indistinct blur. Later, Yibo tried to recall the first time he had seen Zhan's famous radiant smile, and the image in his mind was blurry, its light gone. A cold dread, a more profound fear than any chaos they had ever faced, settled over them. The universe, in its quest for balance, was erasing their shared history. It wasn't taking their love, it was taking the memories that had built it, leaving an empty, beautiful void. The world outside was perfectly stable, but their inner world was slowly unraveling. The fear became a frantic, desperate urgency. They realized the universe didn't want to destroy their love, it simply wanted to re-establish the balance that their all-encompassing power had disrupted. The price of that power, it seemed, was a single, unifying anchor. They knew what they had to do. They had to find a different kind of anchor, a more sustainable one that didn't require the sacrifice of their very essence. They decided on a final, mind-blowing act of defiance and reconnection. They had to journey to the point where their love was first recognized as a cosmic force, the old, abandoned opera house where they had first truly healed. This journey was a mental one, a trip back through their own fading memories, a frantic race against time. The second mind-blowing scene was a poignant, bittersweet descent into their own minds. They stood on a quiet, sun-drenched hill, their eyes closed, their hands clasped. With every ounce of their remaining will, they projected themselves back through time and space, back through their own shared consciousness. They moved through a series of quantum echoes of their past, a frantic, beautiful race against the fading. They landed in a silent, shimmering echo of their apartment, the day they had first confessed their feelings. They saw themselves, their younger selves, and a faint, shimmering, visible imprint of that memory appeared around them, a ghost of a beautiful past they might lose. They watched themselves, two nervous, uncertain young men, and a desperate sob escaped Zhan's lips. "I don't want to forget this," he whispered. Yibo squeezed his hand. "We won't. I won't let us." They moved on, through a swirling vortex of fading memories, a blur of silent concerts, of shared meals, of quiet, unspoken moments. They fought to hold on to each one, to etch it back into their minds. They landed in another echo, this one on the rooftop in the first snowfall, the memory now a faint, ethereal aura of cold and profound peace. They saw the moment of their secret pact, the starlight thread now a faint, shimmering ribbon barely holding on. It was a terrifying reality. The more they remembered, the more they realized how much had already been lost. They arrived at the old opera house. It was just a decaying, empty building, the stage dark, the seats draped in white cloth. The air was thick with dust and the ghost of their past selves. They stood on the stage, the place where their love had first brought light to the world. They knew the universe didn't want to destroy their love, it simply wanted its balance. They realized they could offer a different kind of anchor. Not one of combined essence, but of pure, profound, individual truth. The climax was a final, mind-blowing act of love, not of power. With their hands clasped, they used their remaining will to create a single, resonant melody of their love, not as a cosmic force, but as a simple, human song. Yibo's echo syndrome, a shadow of its former self, provided the perfect pitch, a single pure note of devotion. Zhan's empathy, a quiet echo of its past, gave the note a profound, heartfelt emotion. They sang a simple melody, a song of love and memory, and sent it out into the universe. This song was the final anchor, a quiet, profound vibration that stabilizes the universe without requiring the sacrifice of their memories. The universe, an unfeeling but fair force, accepted their new offering. The melody resonated through space, becoming the new, gentle, invisible force that keeps the world from unraveling. Their memories returned, not as a flood, but as a gentle, reassuring tide. The vivid details, the small smiles, the loving glances, they all returned, whole and perfect. They looked at each other, their eyes full of a new, profound understanding. Their greatest power was not in the heavens, not in a grand spectacle, but in the simple, unbreakable truth of their shared history. They had chosen to fight for their past, and in doing so, they had secured their future. Their love was truly their own now, a quiet, profound bond that existed for its own sake, for their own shared memories, for all time.